Hello, you lovely bunch. No respawns here. Hope you're doing well and having a grand weekend, and hopefully haven't gone absolutely insane from being in isolation. That I definitely have not just yet. And if you're watching this video in the future, hopefully everything worked out. So I'm going to be making a load of junk walls and barricades in this video, and also showing you a couple of tips that I showed in the last video, but I thought maybe I'd put it in this video because it's going to be relevant to what I'm doing. Also, for some reason, the music hasn't started yet, so it's eerily peaceful. I don't mind, it just kind of, I was very well aware of it and now can't not notice it. Right, so first thing, let's show you the handy tip. So I mentioned this in the last video, and it's really, really handy, which is to be able to place these down without having to have them connected to these. So this is a handy one to do. It is super handy, and we're going to pop it here because I'm also making a junk wall barricade thing. If I pop it back, actually let's have it further down. Yeah, okay, so we're going to put this there like that. Right, so basically, normally you can't place these freestanding, but you can place them on these, like that. But obviously not all of the time, and if you try and take this off, it won't let you. It makes that horrifying noise that we all know and love. So what you can do is you can just place one like this. Then you take that one off, and now you can take that off. And then you can snap them in like that. I don't know why I've mentioned this a few times. Just this engine is all about the build order, and obviously they're still finicky as hell, as you can see. Sometimes you just can't place them down, but it's all good, and you can have them freestanding, or you can make little rows. Normally, to be fair, it's not a problem. It just happens to be probably this area is a little bit weird. When I did my last build, I had no issue with kind of snapping them together. Incidentally, because everyone always asks, and you might have not watched my old videos. Sorry for the sound of the ambulance, if you can hear that. But we are just south of the crosshair and just north of Clancy Manor. This is the best place to build, to be honest. I do all my kind of like tutorial videos here, just because it's a really peaceful and flat area. Right, anyway, so on to the first of the junk walls. So I like kind of just playing around. Now, with junk walls, often you don't want to necessarily surround your entire settlement with just one giant wall, because sometimes that might look crap, or maybe maybe you don't have the space. So what you can do is you just kind of have a couple of barricades around, with kind of entrances going through, but it still keeps the nice aesthetic. So this one's just a tip with junk walls, because with Fallout 76, obviously we don't have the same tools available that we have, especially if you're modding in Fallout 4. However, this is the way I approach things. I quite enjoy the challenge, because it means I get to kind of be a little bit more creative to make stuff that might look a little bit weird on its own. But then when you kind of mix textures together, it gets quite fun. So that's kind of sort of how I do it. I like making barricades. They're fun. I've been meaning to make this video for ages, just because, you know, barricades are cool. And having them all collected in one kind of video is pretty grand. So certain things snap in certain ways. I don't think it just doesn't like this area very much. I think it's just there. There's probably something under it. You're going to let me... Okay, fuck it. We'll be a bit more... Just for the sake of... A good old bit of symmetry. Yeah, it's probably just this specific area. So I like mixing up different kinds of textures and all that jazz, because it's fun. I'm going to make a few of them. I'm just going to play around, really. Where is me? Brain's like a sieve. I swear these tabs move. They don't move. It's literally me being an idiot. But, I'm going to complain anyway. The fact there's no music really freaks me out, and I don't know why it's not starting. I can't not notice it. These cement walls are from the Adam store. One of the few things that I do recommend you pick up if it's available. It is a really, really cool set that you can do a lot with. It's often on, so just keep a look-see out for it, because it is pretty cool. Right, so to make a few junk walls. There's different ways that you can kind of surround your settlement with stuff. I might even take that concrete thing off, actually, to be honest. Yeah, looks a bit better without it. Because I like the idea of this as just a platform that you can peek over without necessarily... Let me go up a little bit, maybe. Normally I'd have these up higher, like say what this one is. Say about there. So it's kind of in line with the thing. But unfortunately, this area here is deciding it's just not going to let me move stuff down. And I... ain't nobody got time for that. Okie dokie. Right, so I'm going to make a few junk walls. This is a solid look. Let me pop some stuff in the front of that, actually, as well. So the trick with junk walls is to try and, like, mix textures up. Because we don't have the junk walls that we had in Fallout 4. And also the modding as well. However, you can still make something which looks pretty cool. And this little stand here is very handy because it's got no stairs on it whatsoever. We can put loads of turrets up there. But, because we like to mix things up a little bit... we're going to put turrets on boxes, because turrets on boxes looks cool. Let's center that boy there. Gorgeous. Let's add some bits up there, actually. Boop. Yeah, I'm going to take that off and do it again. Because that just wasn't having it at all, was it? Well, that's a bit better, isn't it? I really wish... Oh, for God's sake, turn around. That we would have a couple of just crates which aren't actual stash boxes. I would really appreciate that quite a lot. Let's add some... Also, just add some lanterns and stuff. Yeah, let's do that. Let's add some spookiness to it. I can't get close. Come here. Oh, too close. Thank you. That was a weird noise there, mate. Why did it sound like it was a weird... Okay. Let's go on, make... Yeah, no, I see, I'm probably... Those of you who watch a lot of my videos have probably noticed already, but I really just like dicking around with weird little lanterns. Not lanterns, like weird barricades. It's just fun. Because you can make just odd shit. And it's kind of a lot where their creativity comes from. Because that's why I kind of bizarrely, masochistically enjoy the limitations we have for Fallout 76 in a lot of ways. I'd like more toys to play with, but I'm not too bothered with like the lack of mods or anything. Because I can just kind of make something that looks kind of neat. And I like doing that because it's fun. Rather than just going, oh cool, I've got a load of tools I can already use already. See, look at that. Look at that already. A nice little barricade there, and it's taken me a few minutes to do. It's just kind of a solid little look. So, I do use this combo of stuff quite a lot. Let me demonstrate again. And also this is handy, so I can kind of show how breaking up barricades looks really cool. So let's build one over here as well. I do love a good barricade. So yeah, this set, I highly recommend you pick it up if you see it, because it's just so grand. What are we going to do? Also, in terms of stash boxes, I use these crates all the time for my barricades. So, if you can, try and pick it up, because it's quite versatile. The only slight annoying thing is sometimes the lids will open, and they won't close until you log back in, which just can look a bit weird. But you'll manage, or you'll be like me and complain about it a lot. For those who don't know, didn't watch the news, the Wastelanders update for Fallout 76 is now been delayed to, I believe, the 14th, which is a little bit frustrating because I am hankering for some Wastelanders. However, it's alright. It is actually slightly handy because Resident Evil 5 comes out soon, and I do want to devote some time to that. See, this is quite a crisp little barricade that I like to do. Simple yet effective, and makes for a nice look. And again, with the These are also very, very nice. There's actually use here as well. Like, obviously, this isn't just purely aesthetic. Adding these on means that sometimes creatures, when they melee the walls, will actually still get stabbed a little bit. That is not even remotely. I do slightly make these up as I go along a bit, but just barricades are so fun to make. Barricades and junk walls. This is a bit of a hangover, to be honest, from the Fallout 4 times as well, because I was the same back then. I just like making weird walls, to be honest. They're fun. This one's a little bit tidier. Let's make a few more. We're going to basically just play around walls. This is kind of what this video basically is. It's just me playing around with walls and kind of showing you the different combos that you can make with things. And if anything, this is the secret to a lot of my settlements. Is just kind of adding little bits and pieces like this around. Because it makes really, really crisp look. Okie dokie. I'm going to put... Right, let me show you how to play around with a gate. Gates are an utter ball ache to do, so I might have to try this a couple of times. I'm going to attempt to get this on. Okay, I've got to remember how to do the order. So you've got these wee gates here. But they're a bit of a ball ache to place. Alright, so let's make a nice angled one. Basically, you can't snap these to things, but you can snap things to them. But we're going to make some angled walls. So you get the length roughly about there. This is a sneaky thing I like to do as well. A bit more time consuming, but it makes for a little bit more dynamic entrances. I did that, if those of you don't remember, I think it was one of my ash heap bases I did this. I like doing stuff like this. Down a bit. See, because what I'm doing is rather than a bit up a bit, rather than snapping it actually onto the point, I'm basically lining the fence up to snap. All back a bit and a little bit to the side. And in a bit. Obviously, for those of you, you can't be asked to do this, and that is completely fair. However, I love doing this stuff, so I should start a YouTube channel about it. I hate that noise so much. I've mentioned this a few times, but I really... Oh my god, I hate it so much. It's the worst noise ever. There we go. Oh, beautiful. Let's do the other side. Don't worry, there's a reason for all this nonsense. Oh, well, that one was there. Which is to make something that looks cool. But basically, that's the only reason. Make something that looks sort of neat. Actually, have it a bit more of an angle. Actually, you know what? I'm going to have it this way. Actually, you know what? Let's not even do that. Let's do it this way. Okie dokie. Rather than dick around with that. Because look at that. That fits in perfectly. One thing I do a lot is I like to break up the walls with random guard posts. These guard posts are amazing for sinking into things, because those ones can sink in wherever, but these ones alternating between kind of having a few bits and pieces like this, some kind of mini guard posts, just basically mixing the texture up makes the walls look like they're just, well, they're ramshackle. I'm going to make sure if we can keep the light. Yes, before I get distracted, we're going to add some texture onto the front of these. Again, fences look really wank, so on their own, they don't look wank, but they don't look like very secure on their own. However, fences reinforced with concrete, get in. I tend to use the same few stuff. It's really, really weird that the music hasn't happened. It's very strange. What's up with the music? Let's put and those ones. I always recommend don't use more than 2, because otherwise it can look a little bit, wow, shit, really, if you overdo it, but... Oop, that is not placed properly. Thank you, dear. Gorgeous. Right, let's play around. Signs are also good, obviously. I've actually got, like, most of the signs now. Where are the... Oh, they're right in front of me, literally. They're bit small, though, innit? Bit big, rather. Let's have that one. See, already this is looking quite junky and nice. So let's actually... I wasn't actually going to surround the whole thing. Let's surround this whole thing with different kind of walls on each side. So again, I'm going to break up this wall here with another one of these. Because it's sneaky. And also, I've worked in this little area of land so much that I know for a fact that you can't sink things properly here. So I have to kind of make do with something else. You see, I've broken up the walls with almost like... Ooh, oh, I thought that was something. It's just that thing. With some kind of different texture each time, and it just looks neat. Right, yeah, see this part here. I remember this part here. I might even be a bit sneaky and move that there. What's happening now is unique to this area, by the way. Just ignore me for a sec. While I make something random. One thing that's good about these kind of walls as well is because obviously you're kind of being a little bit more reactive and just kind of placing what fits, effectively building something that's all ramshackle, is it means that you can end up with something that looks pretty neat and quite organic as well, which is pretty cool. Because, like, by necessity, I'm having to use certain things in this part. It does not want to place there. Why do you not want to place there? Come on. Weird. Oh, wait, there we go. Yeah, and you end up making just like weird little strange shit. A few gaps are allowed, yeah. You can have a couple of gaps, yeah. If you can have a couple of gaps, when you're good. Come on, let me plug that gap. Go on, go on. Boo. Boo. That's right, I'll try and be sneaky. This is what I spend hours doing, everyone. This is my life. Plugging gaps in walls. If I have something that's sneaky. Bum, 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 bum. Yeah, this is actually just uniquely to that one. That's fine. We'll allow a gap, just because obviously this is a unique feature of this specific area, rather than necessarily actually part of it. So one handy thing, if you're having, like, you need something a bit more rigid to put in, is, firstly, let's just put some lights down very, very quickly, because it's getting a bit dark, and we can't have that, can we? But I put 2 down. That was a bit of waste. Let's just put some random... Actually, let's just put... I've got... Oh, super mutants. That scared the shit into me. Where are you? 1 second. Where are you, shits? I heard you. Okay, that's creepy. You right, lads? Wagwan. Okay. Another handy thing about this plate I'm built here is it's obviously very, very low level, so you're pretty solid. Cool. All right, well, they'll probably come back in a set. There's always going to be more than one. Anyway, what was I saying? So basically, one thing I also like to do, see, I've mixed up different styles here, is actually having an actual structure, but a small one works quite well. This is also handy because you can sync this in anywhere. You can end up having like a little bit of a... I won't have it that close, actually. I'll have it in the middle. Let's just quickly join it on because we don't want it. Let's have another one of those. I've also got these, but to be frank, narratively, they don't really make the most secure looking thing. Just going to add a little bit more length here, and then I'll have it there. There we go. Where's me floor bits? There we go. Bit closer than I normally would to those stairs, but I'll allow it. Just this once. Actually, you know what? I will take that. Have it like that instead. And like that. Cool. Right, we'll do that. And then we'll add, because it's a bit close to the gate, but it's fine. And let's pop that there. And then we'll add the floor bits. Where's me floor bits? There they are. And I'm going to put some spiky wall bits here. And we'll add some spiky bits on the top. Where are my spiky bits? Because it's in turrets and traps. And we'll reinforce the front a wee bit. Because obviously you'd do that. Those mutants are going to appear in a second. There's one of them just hanging around, I know it. I mean, they're not going to hurt me, they're just going to make me jump and also distract from my building. Rude, to be honest. Just put one. And then whenever you're plugging up the last gap, the humble fence is surprisingly very handy. Here we go. Here we go. Whoop. And then we just... Yeah, that's nice and close. And then we do the same thing again. So we'll just reinforce the front. Well, I think I want piles of tyres. Do you want piles of tyres? Let's have some piles of tyres. Oh, the music's back as well, finally. You can hear it slightly in the background. Nice to join this music. And have a stash box there again. I mean, notice when I place it down, when it comes at the next one, it slightly angles it. Always a good look. And then let's put some lights around. Gotta have your lanterns everywhere. Lanterns are cool. Yeah, put that one over there. Let's pop a couple around here. And my wee back. Oh, I've got to plug that gap now, haven't I? Let's quickly plug the gap then. What can I plug the gap with? Can I plug the gap with you? You let me plug the gap there, buddy? Ah, screw it, I don't care. There's gonna be a gap here. Deal with it. Otherwise I'll be here for hours. Okie dokie. So yeah, I have gonna pick those generators up because I ended up using different kinds of light. Thank you, dear. But yeah, so this is different kinds of designs of junk walls that you can use. It's pretty straightforward, and half of these I've sort of made up on the fly. But let's go into photo mount so we can see it a bit better. But as you can see, there's kind of junk walls. Let's make the saturation up so you can see them a bit better. It's just mixing different textures together. And a lot of this was reactive as well, which is why this looks really, really cool. It just looks like, you know, a nice little barricaded up little area. What you could even do, actually, and something I'm probably going to do at some point, is now that I can have these freestanding, that could be the doorway. So, for example, you could literally take all this off, have that up a little bit higher, and that's your actual entranceway instead. Which would be another thing which I'm planning to do on my next build, which will sort of look like this, to be fair. But yeah, so there's definite possibilities, and it's just fun to play around and make weird little junk walls like this. Anyway, hope you guys found that a little bit handy. I wanted to kind of concentrate this into a singular video for a while, just because it kind of gives you a kind of breakdown on all the little weird and wonderful things you can do with junk walls. And I haven't even built a structure yet. You know, I can just like plop a small tent down in here, and I've got the makings of a pretty satisfying little camp. Just like, okay, probably a bit hard to fit in because I've just kind of squeezed it in, but you know, you get my point. That it's just kind of like a nice little ramshackle camp, and it's something that maybe you don't initially think you can do with the limitations of Fallout 76, but in essence, for me at least, I enjoyed the challenge. Anyway, hope you found that handy. As always, follow me on Twitter at norespawns. So next week I'm getting some upgrades for my computer, a new processor and a motherboard. It'd be quite cool. Getting I think it's an AMD 3600. I think that's the one I'm getting. And I can't remember the motherboard's name at all. However, one thing that I mean is alongside rendering, times will be much better for me, but also streaming will be a lot bit easier for me. For those who've been watching the streams on the channel will know that I've had a little bit of issue with the frames dropping because it's obviously a massive processor drain. So as of next week, I should arrive on Wednesday, so basically by the weekend, expect finally streams from me again. Be streaming a lot of Resident Evil 3 if you're keen, and also obviously potentially Fallout 76 building maybe, but probably some kind of nuclear winter stuff, which should be pretty grand. Anyway, until the next video, you guys enjoy the rest of your week. Enjoy your isolation. Don't forget to wash your hands, and please stay safe. Take care.